Greetings, brothers and sisters. Lil Nas X Satan shoes containing human blood sell out under a minute. And, yeah, that happened. You all talk so much S about these shoes just for them to sell out literally in less than 1 minute, the 21-year-old rapper shared in a since-deleted tweet. Laughing my A off, you all going out sad. Well, what you did is you got 666 dopes, Miley Cyrus included. And so, I don't care. I didn't spend any money on it, right? There's 666 dopes out there that spent $1,000 on shoes that probably are what? What are these Nike Air Max 97s? So these Nike Air Max go from like $180, $170 or whatever. And, $155 depending on what they are. So I don't know what he got these sneakers as, right? And how much it cost him to Satan them up, right? But what he ended up selling these for at $1,018 times 666 is $677,988. So immorality does pay, right? Like that's what it says. And then he's gloating here, sold out in less than a minute. You're just a gimmick, right? This guy's just a clown and a gimmick and whatever. There's lots of dopes out there, and at least 666 of them. And I'm sure he would have sold another 666, maybe another 6,666. But, you still suck, right? If you're going to define your success by the amount of money, yeah, right, you're making a lot of money. But your rap sucks. You're not a good person. You got all these kids hooked on your music. You connected with them. You went out and you marketed to them. And then you sold them some satanic crap and, you're a crappy human being. So I made the first part of this video last night and I didn't get time to edit it. And then I woke up this morning. Nike sues over Lil Nas X Satan shoes with human blood in their soles. Nike filed a federal trademark infringement lawsuit Monday against the company that released controversial customized versions of its sneakers in collaboration with rapper Lil Nas X. The Old Town Road artists worked with Mischief to release Satan shoes on Monday. Mischief releasing Satan shoes. The sneakers are modified Nike Air Max. It's 97s. Again, pretentious way of spelling mischief. Let's just get rid of the vowels and make it cooler. Decorated with a pentagram pendant and a reference to Luke 10:18, a Bible verse about Satan's fall from heaven. Mischief, a company known for creating controversial and viral products, confirmed Sunday that the shoes contained a drop of human blood inside the sole, drawn from the members of Mischief's team. Mischief blood, all 666 pairs of modified Nikes priced at $1,018 sold out shortly after they went on sale Monday. That's like a $800 markup. I mean, the shoes are probably worth, they're just old Nike, right? Air Max, whatever they are. And so, think about the markup for Sataning them up, adding a little Satan stuff on them. Nike filed a suit. Lil Nas X was not named as a defendant. The lawsuit argues that Nike must maintain control over its brand by setting the record straight about what products bear its distinctive swoosh logo. They don't want the swoosh and Satan's associated, but, doesn't mean Nike isn't about Satanism. And the thing about people buying these shoes, and you could be an atheist or someone who doesn't believe in the devil or Satan or whatever it is, but your subconscious and your, just what it means, right? Like, I think probably it will have a negative effect on you buying these shoes, overpaying for them, the pretentious aspect of them, and the fact that they are the representation of evil. Like, even if Satan doesn't exist, it exists in your conscious or subconscious, right? There's evil in the world. There's evil beings. Like, there's evil soul, there's souls that have gone to the dark side. And so you're embracing evil, and whatever you think you're doing, right, overpaying for these shoes to be stylish or trendy or what, show them off to your friends, it means you kind of are a lame person, right, with very little inside. Like, this guy doesn't seem to have any depth. He's not smart, but he's, obviously good at this sort of brand marketing. I mean, or he has some help with it or whatever it is. I mean, he certainly has handlers, but he's been able to, make his crappy rapping skills and his crappy music, and he's been able to cultivate it into, big business and making a lot of money off of his, inferior musical talent. And that's by embracing evil. But there's always a price for embracing evil. And, speaking of evil, Sharon Osbourne exits the talk with payout of up to $10 million. Now, I've covered her before. She should have been fired multiple times already. But they said she said all these racist things, her former co-hosts and people that were on the show. So she was fired for being racist, and they gave her a $10 million payout. How is that being fired? Have you ever been fired and you got the equivalent to $10 million, whatever your level of income is? I mean, $10 million for being fired. First of all, she sucked. And I talked about, all these things that she did in the past and weird satanic crap with her husband and that documentary where he tried to strangle her and all that stuff. I made some videos about her. Can't remember all of it, but she's some sort of little gremlin witch, not a nice person. And she did things on the talk that should have got her fired before. The talk is, The View's crackhead sister, right? And so she, the show sucked and she was just annoying and not good at it, at least the things that I saw. And then all this stuff came out about her saying horrible things about her co-hosts, racist things, and that nobody really liked her, and they give her $10 million, right? So this is, apparently immorality and crime pays. I mean, if you're going to say things like that and get fired for it, why would they give her $10 million, right? Pretty much every job I've ever had, if they wanted to give me some sort of big payout like that, the equivalent, because we all have different income levels. But if someone was going to give me, I don't know, 20 grand and fire me, I'd be like, thank you. I should have done this like years earlier. And so when I was doing the editing, I'm finishing up this video, I looked at this and it says Lil Nas X's Instagram post or whatever that is, sold out in less than a minute. And I'm like, yeah, you did. It didn't take you at all. It didn't take you like any time at all to sell out, right? He doesn't even know he's owning himself here by his posts. But anyways, I just wanted to say a few more things about evil paying. Like, evil pays. Evil is profitable right now. But it won't always be the case. There's, various, obviously the Kali Yuga, and there's times in history where evil is profitable on a material level, but you always pay on a spiritual level. When you do things that are wrong, you go in the wrong direction, you sell your soul. I mean, that's what's happening here by so many people. Buying these shoes is a way of selling your soul, right? Because they represent evil, and you're buying them, overpaying for just the idea of, having something for people to talk about because you're not interesting, right? Like, I can wear plain clothes and I'm still interesting, right? If you don't have anything inside internal, then you have to bling out your outside, right? If you don't have anything to offer people, you have to make your packaging really, there's nothing inside the packaging. If the box is empty, then you better, bling up the packaging. And that's what's happening in our world right now. People with plastic surgery and, all the things they do externally, and then do all these, just again, with Lil Nas X, the music isn't good. Like, he's not an interesting person with some depth. He doesn't have a lot to say. His, based on the music itself, he would have no career. He said he did a gimmick. He admits it, and he has no remorse. And one of his, I just covered this in other videos, because he doesn't have like something of substance. And so, yeah, in the 2021, in our materialistic economy, and a time where people are really superficial, and they don't have anything of value inside them, so they look at something that's flashy or whatever, something that's controversial, that has energy in it, energy generated by doing something that's offensive, that goes against the divine principles and nature. And it's not simple, right? We live in a time where everything is about complexity and drama. Like I said, the Heartfulness Meditation says, that God is simple, and you need simple means to reach God. But people don't even think about that. They're not trying to connect to God. In fact, they don't want to, because it means that they have to like give up a lot of their crappy, superficial attachments and addictions and things. And so people are, complexing themselves. They're making themselves more and more complex. And we live in a time where you embrace evil and things go well for you. Like, things materially go well. I mean, at first, like anything else. But there's going to be, added complexities. Now he has a lawsuit, and, this is going to come back to haunt him in some way or another, if not in this life, in another one, in the next one. And right now, when people go to the dark side in one way or another, they become criminals, or they, get an addiction, or start gambling. Like I always say, the first time, you gamble, you win. Or drug dealers will turn you on to drugs for free, and then once you're addicted, they have a, very high markup, right? They become very expensive. And so, it's the same thing with evil. People go to the dark side and indulge in evil, but then the price grows, and you can see it. It like sucks their, youth away from them. Their faces get evil. They have this lack of energy, lack of vitality, and they have to feast on, some other energetic forms, right? Especially these celebrities. I've talked about this with Madam Expiration Date. And so, there's always a price for evil. But in the future, when people behave in an evil way, when they behave in a way that's unnatural, or they, go against divine laws, there's an immediate reaction that, makes it hard on them. There's immediate consequences when you take shortcuts and things. There's no debt-based economy that rewards you for, sensationalism and for wrong behavior in these things. And so right now, yeah, evil's rewarded, but it won't always be the case. And there's there's a plan. People freak out about these things because they don't believe there's a plan. They don't believe that this is a part of the divine plan, that God allows this to exist, that this is, a possibility, that this is things that people can choose to do. Beings can choose to go down this path, go away from the natural order of things, the divine order of things, right? Go away from your soul's path, go away from what God desires for you to become, go in a selfish, egotistical direction. I mean, this is, we can choose to do this, and that's, and people will, and there'll be a time, like there'll be times in history, there'll be times on this planet where there'll be an overwhelming movement in this direction. But it's a systemic problem. It's an internalized problem. It's what people have inside themselves. And we've created the system, and the system has created us. And we're all, materialistic in nature, and people don't want anything to do with God. I mean, so many people, either they don't acknowledge that there's God, they don't acknowledge that there's a soul, they don't acknowledge these things. Or even worse, they know that there's God, they know that there's a soul, and they just go against that, right? They know that they have a soul's path, and they willfully go against their purpose here, their soul's purpose, and that's, that's even worse. And the current supports them. The current, there's this collective current that's being created that's going in an evil direction, and there's a divine reason for this, that is to pull all these things and tendencies, all these negative tendencies up to the surface, ideas and, desires and things that go against, one's better nature. And so these things need to be pulled out, these things that have been suppressed and been kept down for so many years. I mean, that's what people are thinking, that religion and morality and social constructs have suppressed people's ability to express these parts of themselves. And so now they feel like, hey, I can express these things, evil things, things that are, undesirable, but they feel like they've been held back from expressing these things inside themselves because of laws or cultural pressures and things. But now they're like, oh, I'm free to just be who I am, and who I am is sucky, right? They don't understand that these are undesirable things that they have inside of them. But there's a reason why they're all coming out and coming to the surface, because they need to be excised out, like cancer. They're a cancer on humanity, and they need to be removed. And so they're being pulled to the surface. Like in the heartfulness meditation, you might have something buried deep inside of you. Like I said years and years ago, when I was given these sittings to become a trainer in the heartfulness system, it was sitting is where you sit across from a trainer or the master of the system. And these group meditations, there's cleaning done and transmission given, but also these individual sittings. And you get these deep cleanings when you become a trainer of the heartfulness system. And they're very intense. And I got 8 sittings from senior preceptors. 3 of them were from the master of the system. And the last sitting I got, just all these negative thoughts that I didn't even know I had were being like pulled out of me. It was this really intense experience. I was at the Master Chargy's house early in the morning, and I came there and he was giving me the sitting, the last sitting to make me into a preceptor. And the just horrible thoughts, like I was just, these things that I couldn't believe that were coming out or whatever. And just feelings. It was like a restlessness and a lot of negative feelings. And afterward, I was, felt so great. It was like this blissful moment, this blissful experience to have all that stuff cleaned out. And so, there's events that happen when you do the heartfulness system in your life to pull out emotions. You could be a nice person, a calm person, and then all of a sudden you're angry all the time. And you're about to go to a gathering or something. About to, go to one of these big events or, trip to India or some, there might be some spiritual thing you're going to participate in. And maybe months before, you're just angry all the time and irritable, and you feel, really bad, and, maybe having negative thoughts you normally wouldn't have. And then it's cleaned out. You go to this gathering and it's pulled out of you, but it has to be, brought out to the surface. It's stuff that you've repressed, or it's buried inside of you. And so that's what's happening collectively to humanity. The stuff's being pulled up to the surface so it can be excised out. Stuff that needs to disappear. And then people are going to have to be more disciplined in the future not to let these indulgences, these indulgent thoughts and desires creep back in. Because people have been, internally creating all this, negativity you see being pulled to the surface. So right now it's being rewarded. It's, it's desirable for these things to come out, things that have been suppressed by religious authority and, social and cultural pressure, but that won't always be the case. There'll be a time where these things will no longer be desired, right? They need to be pulled out of the human condition, and then people are going to have to rise to a higher vibrational level and have pure thoughts and, just in terms of their purpose on this planet, right? Part of it is, to be more dutiful towards God and your family and things. Everyone wants to just live their best life in terms of their egos. I mean, that's the end of the Mahabharata brought in the Kali Yuga, and it was the end of the time of Dharma, where people used to live for duty. Like Dharma means duty, and they would do their duty towards God and their family and have an attitude of sacrificing their own needs for other people, and that disappeared. Then the age of karma, which is action, where people were just living for themselves, and that's been the last 5,000 years. And that's going to disappear, where people go out and, do what's best, look out for number one, all these things. And so that is created what we see now. but the current will shift, like the ocean or, even a river. The current goes in an opposite direction all of a sudden. And then, this idea of being selfish is slammed. Like now you're swimming upstream instead of going with the current. The current has been for people to be selfish, for people to be egocentric and things like this. But all of a sudden the current will shift and it won't be the case anymore. And all this kind of stuff will disappear. In fact, you can see that things are shifting, whether people are aware of it or not. Things are shifting and things are changing. The tide is turning. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.